Okay, we're here at 1514 Stoneywood Way in Apopka, and we just completed the home inspection and the report for the property. You weren't able to attend, so we're just giving you a brief summary video to help you understand the condition of the property. I'm walking to the right side of the property right now. Now the house faces north, just so you know for your records. Okay, the water for the property comes in at the northwest corner. Okay, now one of the things that you'll see in your inspection report is I was not able to find a main water valve, and what you usually do in these situations is you try to look for one in an accessible area, because these valves are installed in the event of an emergency so that you can access the plumbing quickly. Now we're looking at the west side of the building now, and you can see what that looks like, and you don't see any water lines coming in. And then as we walk here to the front, again along the front wall, we don't have anything. But as we're walking around and observing the building, I can tell you that the building appears to have recently been painted, and if it hasn't been, it's just in really good condition. The house is very well maintained. That's the first impression I had when I pulled up, and it remains my impression even after completing the inspection. Okay, this is the front porch area. Okay, you can see what that looks like. Now this is the west side garage wall. Okay, this is where I thought I might find a valve as well for the water, but I did not. A lot of these properties in Apopka, that's where we are, a lot of these properties in Apopka, if you're familiar with them, they often will install a valve underground. I wasn't able to probe for one. I probed but couldn't find one. I'm assuming it's going to be underground somewhere along this garage wall. That's going to have to be located by somebody who's knowledgeable with plumbing. I would recommend having that located for your own benefit, because you'll want to be able to access that valve in the event of an emergency. Okay, and looking around the property, it's going through the garage areas. Everything, like I said, seems to be very well maintained. A little bit of clutter in the garage because of the boat here, but we got around pretty well. At the southeast corner of the garage is where the water heater is located. I have no issues with the water heater or any really big issues with the plumbing at all. Here at the south wall, or the back wall of the garage, is the sub panel, and at the sub panel you can see all your breakers here. Here's your panel legend. You can see everything's labeled rather nicely. These breakers here, breakers 9 through 15, these 4 breakers are AFCI breakers, and you can see by the green test button on each one of those that they're a different kind of breaker than the standard breaker. Those are installed since 2002 for arc fault protection. In the year this was built in 2005, they were required for bedroom circuits and for any devices that are in bedrooms. Walking around the left side of the building, or the east side of the building, this is where your main service disconnect panel is. Okay, if you shut this breaker off here, this 150 amp breaker off, it kills all the power to the house. One of the notes you're going to see in my report is that the service disconnect for the condenser unit, which is the outside unit for the air condition, is not within sight of the AC. Here is the breaker for the AC, or the service disconnect. It's installed in the main panel. And if you look over this way towards the back of the house, or to the south, what happened here is they installed a fence. So between this panel and that fence, there's no visual access. This is not a big deal, but it is technically incorrect. The disconnect has to be within sight. You may want to visit getting that repaired, or talking to somebody about getting that repaired, if that's what you choose to do. I'm going to open this gate. Hold on a second. Okay. Now coming in here, you can see condensation is draining from the condensation line, but the line itself is obstructed. This is the condenser unit. These are the AC lines over there, and this is the condensation line. Now this line over here is where the condensation drains. One of the problems we had during the home inspection is the AC unit kept shutting off on us. The reason it kept shutting off on us is because there is a float switch installed for the specific purpose of preventing water damage. Now, This air handler unit was installed sometime after 2015 because the manufacturer's date's 2015. We weren't able to find a permit for it, but we believe it was installed then. It may have been installed because there had been some water damage here previously with the older unit. Reason we say that is because you can see that they installed new plywood here at the top of the support. Now, because of that, I'm not sure if they had a float switch present with the old system or not, with the old air handler unit or not, but they do have one here. And in here is where that float is. Okay, it's a little difficult to get it off, but once you get it off, you see how wet that is? Look at all that water coming out of there. The reason why this keeps shutting down is because this float switch keeps rising with the condensation. That's a good thing because it's preventing water damage from happening here at the garage, but it's a frustrating thing because if you're not aware of the problem, you go to sleep at night and you're sweating in the middle of summer wondering why you're at 80, 85 degrees in the house. It's because that float switch won't let the unit run until that condensation drains. So the solution to that is to have an HVAC guy, a technician, somebody qualified to come out here and go ahead and clean out that condensation line. That would be the most important thing you could do. I would say that that would be a priority. Now, as we walk around the east side of the house, you're going to see a note in my inspection about the property grade on the east side of the house being negative. What that means is that the property slopes towards the home on that side of the house. Okay, now if you look closely, just look over here, you can see there's a negative grade towards the building. You're also going to see a recommendation for gutters. You can see that there are none on this house, and that basically allows water to fall close to the foundation and may have caused some of the erosion around the building. That's pretty typical. We see this very often. It's a maintenance recommendation, but we do recommend that it be addressed for the future to make sure that you don't have any real big problems. Now, inside the house, we had a high level of moisture in the hall bathroom wall. That's this right here. And we weren't sure what was causing it, and we're not 100% sure now, but we think that it could have been a combination of some previous cracking in the outside wall combined with regular use of the shower. That wall cavity probably just remained wet and is still wet even right now. Wet meaning high humidity, meaning that it hasn't fully dried. When we were doing the outside, we took a look at the hose bib out here, and if you look at the hose bib, you see how loose that is? Okay, two things come to mind here. One, this void, water can get in there. So if you get a lot of rain, you know that with wind and rain, it's hitting the wall and it's probably getting in there. So one of the reasons this could be wet is because of that. Secondly, although there doesn't seem to be any water here, sometimes when a hose bib is this loose, it doesn't take a lot for the connection to have a slow leak or develop a slow leak. So for that reason, we're going to recommend having someone just come out and make sure, A, it's actually not leaking slowly. It doesn't appear to be, but I would rather be sure of that by having someone check it. And secondly, I would want to have this secured properly, and I would want to have this sealed properly. And I think that that might be the solution to the active moisture in the hall bathroom at the shower wall under the window. Okay, mostly everything inspected pretty well. I think it's a very well maintained house, like I said. Another big positive is that you're dealing with a hip roof, and the roof was in very good condition, the top and the bottom. Some of the items that you'll see in my report, one of which is there's a couple of satellite dish mounting brackets on the roof. From a maintenance standpoint, we would recommend that you just keep those sealed. That would be a really good idea. I think that would be the best thing you can do, just keep them sealed so that they don't leak. They don't seem to be leaking now. It's just that in the future, if they're not paid attention to, they could leak. Another thing we noticed was that there was some dryer lint in the dryer duct. You know, that's pretty common. You may want to have that serviced before you actually start using the dryer, just to make sure that that duct doesn't have any buildup in it. And last but not least, there is a little bit of damage on the fence over here, but the fence isn't connected to the house, and it's really not part of the structure, so we didn't make a mention of it. I'm making a mention of it in the video just so you know we saw it. Okay, so overall, my opinion is that the house inspected pretty well. I created a summary list of punch list type of items for you so that you knew what to get into once you got into the house. I don't really have any urgent matters with the exception of the air condition, because that is an immediate issue. You won't be able to use the AC without having it serviced first. Okay, I hope that this video was helpful to you. And if you have any questions, you can give me a call. I want to thank you for your business, and I wish you a lot of luck here at your new house. Take care.